Hey everyone, and welcome to another deep dive. Today we're going to be diving deep into something that affects all of us, really. We're going to be talking about the future of work.
The future of work in the age of AI.
Yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
And to help us with this, we're going to be looking at this new report from McKinsey.
A fascinating report. Really digs into how the U.S. job market is being reshaped.
Yeah, and it's not just, AI we're talking about here. They factor in, like, the pandemic and how that just threw everything for a loop.
Right. I mean, the pandemic really did change everything, didn't it? Like it upended how we work, what we expect from work.
Totally. Like, remember the good old days when we all went into an office 5 days a week?
I'm not sure I remember those days. But yeah, the report talks about how it's a candidates market now. You've got, get this, 2 job openings for every unemployed person.
Seriously, 2 to 1. That's like unheard of, right?
Practically unheard of. And it's partly why, workers are in the driver's seat. They want flexibility. They want meaningful work.
They want it all. And, they can kind of demand it now.
Exactly. And then you layer on top of all of that the rise of generative AI.
Yeah, the AI thing, like ChatGPT, DLE.
Right. All those tools that can write a sonnet or code a website in 5 minutes. It's
Yeah.
really changing the game.
So we're talking like big changes here, right? Not just learning a new software, but like
Yeah. Fundamental changes to the very nature of work. We're talking potentially 12 million workers needing to switch occupations by 2030.
12 million. That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
Okay, so who's most at risk here? Who should be most worried?
Well, the report highlights a few key areas. Think customer service, for one. Those automated chatbots. They're just the beginning.
Oh, yeah. And those robots flipping burgers.
Exactly. Food service is another big one. And then there's production and office support roles. Basically, any job that can be, streamlined or automated.
Right. But it's not just about AI taking over these jobs entirely, is it?
Exactly. It's more nuanced than that. We'll talk about that more in a sec. But it's also about how AI is going to change the skills needed for pretty much every job out there.
Okay, so it's not just robots are taking our jobs. It's more like...
Robots are changing our jobs.
Right. Okay. I like it. More to come on that.
Absolutely. It's going to get very interesting.
Okay, so we've talked about how AI is going to change, well, pretty much everything about how we work.
It's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, and I got to say, a little part of me is like, hey, I'm a podcast host. I'm good, all right?
I think you're safe for now.
Okay, good. But seriously, this whole AI revolution, it's exciting, but also a little scary, right? Like, are we all about to be out of a job?
It's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And the report, it doesn't sugarcoat it. It says some jobs will definitely be phased out, like for real, gone.
Okay, so what, we should all just become programmers then? Learn to code.
Well, coding's definitely a good skill to have, but it's not just about becoming a tech whiz. The report actually found that those earning under $38,000 a year are 14 times more likely to need to switch careers compared to, higher earners.
14 times. Wow, that's
Really?
a pretty stark difference.
It is. And it highlights the importance of, not just learning any skill, but learning the right skills, the skills that are going to be in demand in this new world of work.
So how do we do that? How do we figure out what those skills are?
Well, part of it is thinking about, what can AI do and what can't it do? Take those teachers we talked about. AI can grade papers, it can even create lesson plans, but it can't replace the human connection a teacher brings to the classroom.
That's a really good point.
So yeah, think about it this way. AI can be a powerful tool for teachers, helping them to be even better at their jobs. And it's not just teachers. Think about doctors using AI to diagnose diseases earlier, or architects using it to design more sustainable buildings.
So AI is like a partner, not a replacement.
Exactly. And those human skills, those soft skills, empathy, creativity, communication, those are going to become even more important in the age of AI.
Right, because those are the things robots can't do, at least not yet. So we've talked about the jobs that might disappear and the jobs that will be transformed. But what about the jobs that are actually growing because of AI?
Oh, yeah, there are plenty of those.
The report mentioned healthcare, STEM fields, even things like transportation and delivery. What's the deal there?
Well, those are all sectors that are experiencing huge growth right now, and they're facing some serious labor shortages.
So not enough humans to fill the jobs.
Basically, take healthcare, for instance. With an aging population, we need more doctors, nurses, home health aides, and those are all jobs where, human connection is super important.
Right. You can't really replace a nurse with a robot, can you?
Not yet, anyway. So yeah, if you're looking for a job that's both in demand and personally fulfilling, those caring professions are a good place to start. But it's not just about those fields. There are going to be new jobs created that we can't even imagine yet. Jobs related to AI development, AI ethics, all sorts of things.
Okay, I'm starting to feel a little better about this whole AI thing. But what about those of us who aren't, cut out for the medical field or coding? What are our options?
That's where those transferable skills we talked about come in. Things like critical thinking, problem solving, being able to communicate effectively, those are valuable in any field.
Right, those are like essential human skills.
Exactly. And here's something else to consider. Even those high-paying, traditionally safe jobs, lawyers, writers, consultants, those are going to be impacted too.
So nobody's safe.
Not really, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. It just means we all need to be ready to adapt and learn new things.
So we've established that the robot uprising is, well, maybe not imminent, but AI is definitely changing the game, which is kind of exciting, but also a little overwhelming. So where do we even start? Should we all be, like, enrolling in coding boot camps right now?
Well, it definitely wouldn't hurt to brush up on your tech skills. But the report actually highlights a really important shift that needs to happen, especially from employers. We need to move away from this laser focus on traditional degrees and start looking more at skills.
So less about that fancy piece of paper and more about what you can actually, like, do.
Exactly. It's about identifying the core competencies a role requires, regardless of your degree. Things like critical thinking, problem solving, communication, those are valuable across industries.
It's like hire for attitude, train for skill. Right.
Exactly. And for anyone listening who's feeling a little anxious about all this change, try to see it as an opportunity. The report actually found that a lot of these career transitions people are making are leading to higher paying roles. It's not just about a job, it's about creating a career path that's fulfilling, exciting even.
Okay, I like that. Turning anxiety into excitement. But how do we actually make that happen? How do people upskill or reskill for these, like, jobs of the future?
Well, companies have a huge role to play here. The report really emphasizes the need for companies to invest in their employees, offering training programs, creating those pathways for career growth within their organization.
So it's not just on individuals to figure this out all on their own.
Definitely not. It's going to take a collaborative effort. Public-private partnerships, government initiatives, educational institutions, everyone needs to step up to the plate. And let's not forget about flexible work models. The report really stresses how crucial those are, especially for attracting and retaining women and older workers. It's about creating a more inclusive, adaptable work environment for everyone.
Right, because who wants to be stuck in a cubicle farm these days?
Yeah.
Especially with, like, a robot as your coworker. Now, before we wrap up, there's one more thing from the report I wanted to touch on. Green jobs. We keep hearing so much about this being, like, a major growth area. What's the story there?
It's huge. With this global push for net zero emissions, we're talking about a massive economic transformation. Renewable energy, sustainable infrastructure, those are just a couple of areas with enormous potential. The report actually projects a net increase of 700,000 jobs in the U.S. green sector alone.
700,000. That's like more people than live in my hometown. But I imagine this shift also means that some existing jobs, like those in the fossil fuel industry, will,
Disappear. Yeah, absolutely. It's a transition, and transitions can be bumpy. But it's also
I love that. It's not just about finding a job. It's about finding a career that, like, aligns with your values and contributes to a better future.
And let's not forget, this whole transition to a greener economy is being fueled by massive investments. The report actually highlights all this record spending happening right now on infrastructure, roads, bridges, renewable energy projects, and all of that is creating tons of jobs, particularly in construction, which, by the way, could really use some more diverse talent.
Right? Who wouldn't want to build a wind farm or, like, design a solar-powered city? So as we wrap up our deep dive into the future of work, here's the takeaway. AI is here to stay, and it's going to change, well, everything. But instead of freaking out, let's get curious. What skills do you think will be most valuable in this new world of work? What are you passionate about? What kind of impact do you want to make? Maybe it's time to, like, learn a new skill or explore a different industry or even start that side hustle you've been dreaming about. Whatever you do, stay curious, stay adaptable, and most importantly, don't be afraid to embrace the change. That's it for today's deep dive. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so head over to our social media and tell us what resonated with you most today. What are your plans for navigating the future of work? Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep those robot overlords at bay.